Before starting the news, we would like to hear your opinion on the following poll. Today's question: what do Democrats mean when they call a wall or barrier immoral? Kindly press the like button and comment your answer in the comment section given below. We are anxious to hear from you. Now let's move on to the news. Linda Sarsour attacks Pelosi ForChastizingIlhan Omar, doing dirty work of white men. I wrote yesterday how Ocasio-Cortez, Tlaib, and Omar were falling in behind Barbara Lee, who said we should not have retaliated after the 9/11 attacks that killed almost 3,000 Americans. Lee is a Marxist, and now those such as Ocasio-Cortez are leading the party into the radical weeds where Lee lives. While that was going on, the Democratic Party started making noises about censoring Rep. Ilhan Omar DMN for anti-Semitic comments. She's made them 3 times since being elected. But the Democrats have backed off that for now, or at least, watered it down. Longtime members of Congress and more moderate Democrats want Omar punished. Younger Democrats and progressives seem to have no problem with Omar's criticisms and the party's slide into full-blown anti-Semitism. Right on cue, here comes Women's March leader Linda Sarsour to attack Nancy Pelosi for chastising Omar. Sarsour is herself a raging anti-Semite of the first order. She has strong ties to Nation of Islam's Louis Farrakhan, who also has a burning hatred for those of the Jewish faith. Sarsour contends that the fury over Omar's anti-Israel remarks stems from Rep. Nancy Pelosi's DCA white feminism and her lack of experience with intersectionality, as well as moderate Democrats' apparent hatred of racial minorities. Bull feces. Sarsour took to Facebook, which oddly enough has never banned her. Nancy is a typical white feminist upholding the patriarchy, doing the dirty work of powerful white men. God forbid the men are upset. No worries, Nancy to the rescue to stroke their egos, Sarsour wrote, ripping into the longtime Democratic leader and current Speaker of the House. For years, when members of Congress have spewed blatant anti-Muslim racism, Islamophobia, propaganda against Muslims, and even held racist hearings with our taxpayer dollars, Democratic leadership were never swift to condemn said members or put out resolutions condemning Islamophobia and/or standing in solidarity with Muslims on the record in Congress, Sarsour continued, angrily. Democrats are playing into the hands of the right, dividing our base and reinforcing their narrative and giving them an easier path towards 2020. You want a resolution? Condemn all forms of bigotry. All forms of bigotry are unacceptable. We won't let them pin us up against each other. We stand with Representative Ilhan Omar. Our top priority is the safety of our sister and her family, Sarsour concluded, tagging her sister Omar so that the post also appeared on Omar's page. That resolution sounds eerily like the one the Women's March actually issued after they were credibly accused of anti-Semitism. Go figure. More from the Daily Wire. After a series of exposes revealed that both Sarsour and fellow Women's March leaders Carmen Perez and Tamika Mallory had close ties to the Nation of Islam, had hired the Nation of Islam to do security work for Women's March events, and had made openly anti-Semitic remarks to Jewish women involved in early Women's March meetings, Sarsour and the organization apologized by issuing a blanket condemnation of bigotry, rather than condemning the specific bigotry anti-Semitism with which they were confronted. Sarsour has continued to serve at the head of the Women's March, and Mallory, who has the closest ties to the Nation of Islam, subsequently defended Louis Farrakhan in several interviews. Perhaps the strangest part of Sarsour's missive is that she blames Nancy Pelosi directly for the problems Omar is encountering. Pelosi is arguably the most successful and powerful female Democrat in history, and whether you agree with her or not, is a paragon of female achievement. But she's not nearly woke enough for Linda Sarsour, because she won't openly embrace anti-Semitism. And that's the rub of the matter, isn't it? Sarsour was not elected to office and has no real say here in the Democratic Party. Or at least, she shouldn't have a say. And Omar should not be allowed to stay on committees that have to do with national security with the bigoted views she holds against Israel. She is rapidly making herself a pariah in Congress, rather than an effective representative for her constituents, State Senator Ron Latz said of Omar's recent comments regarding Israel. The new face of the Democratic Party is anti-Semitic, and it is the age-old ugly visage of hatred and bigotry raising its hoary head once more. Let's be blunt here, those who feel America had it coming on 9/11 also feel we should not have responded in kind. They side with the Islamists and not America. Coincidentally, they abhor Israel and want to wipe her off the face of the earth. Never again should mean never again.